I talk to a lot of Kenyans of all ages and social status. I get the feeling that majority of Kenyans don't really fear for themselves. They fear for their children. Parents fear the possibility of their children inheriting the difficulties they have gone through over the years, or even worse. Nobody wants their children to go through the difficulties that they went through. Children fear the possibility of inheriting the difficulties they see their parents go through every day. In a country where opportunities are dwindling each passing day, while a small clique swims in wealth whose sources cannot be explained. The father who never went to school wants to be sure this country will make it easier, not harder or impossible for his children to go to school. The father who educated his family by crushing stones at Mjengo or pushing wheelbarrows wants to be sure his sons and daughters will not have to rely on the same tools for a living. The single mother who brought up her children selling fruits and vegetables by the roadside under scorching sun wishes to see her children do business in a modern, ventilated market. The parents who worked hard, got all the relevant academic papers, but failed to get their dream jobs because they could not pay a bribe or they were from the wrong tribe, want to be sure that their children will inherit a country where merit and skills, not tribes and second names, are what count. Kenyans are therefore looking for leaders who can realistically address the growing inequality, the lack of opportunities, and lack of upward social mobility. We therefore have to constantly seek new ways to grow our economy while helping more of our people to participate in that growth. Reforms is therefore a must in our country. Some people are telling us that reforms have to wait until we have resources. Yet without these reforms, resources will continue to dwindle. I have said it, there is more work to be done. The BBI is about that extra work. For this economy to produce enough jobs for our growing youth population, we must diversify and spread as many job creation opportunities to as many parts of the country as we can. BBI seeks to ensure that opportunities for job creation are not confined to the cities and towns. That's why the BBI seeks to anchor in the Constitution a new economic model that focuses on value creation, promotes industrialization, and supports small and micro enterprises. BBI seeks to address the gaps in the 2010 Constitution by ensuring that the economic and social rights are enforceable and not just aspirations. It is focused on baking a bigger cake, protecting the same and ensuring equitable sharing, what we call tupike, tulinde, tugawe kwa haki. You have other issues that may not be directly economic in nature, but have serious impact on our economy, like elections, for instance. Elections must cease being civil wars. BBI seeks to usher in an electoral system where every vote is counted and every vote counts. This country comes to a standstill and loses billions, jobs and lives every election year due to violence. Already the drums of war are being sounded, and it is easy to tell how it will end. And yesterday I was telling them, we are still more than 1.5 years to the elections. Yet they are behaving as these elections are tomorrow. We have to decide whether we want elections or civil wars every 5 years. We want our country to be at the front line of Kenya's recovery and growth. And that cannot be the case if 2 years before the elections, the country comes to a standstill. And 1 year after the elections, it still comes to a standstill. So in a cycle of 5 years, the country is working for only 2 years. That is itself the cause of our problems. We want every village to be able to create jobs and businesses for residents. That is why we are pushing for a 70-year tax break for the youth-owned enterprises and businesses incubation centers across the country and at ward levels. That is why we are seeking to increase financial resources to counties. It is the reason we have a Ward Development Fund. It is the reason we are increasing the lifespan of the Equalization Fund from 20 years to 30 years. Because some people don't understand where we were, how we landed where we are. If you look at the first real serious economic blueprint of this country, session of paper number 10 of 1965, African Socialism and is planning for an application of planning in Kenya. It said that the government should invest in high-yielding regions with high potential for growth, and that the marginalized regions will benefit from the trickle-down effect of development in those high-yielding areas. Yaani yale eneo ambayo hazina rutuba na kadhalika watanufaika kulingana na makombo ambayo itatoka kwa meza pale wale wengine wanakulia. That is responsible for an equal development in our country. Marginalization of other parts of the country. And that is why we said we needed to introduce Equalization Fund. Because of the difficulties that have been, that has not been implemented for the last 10 years. That's why we're increasing it for another 10 years, so that those other regions which were left behind can be able to catch up with other regions. We are creating the County Assembly Fund because we believe that independent and strong assemblies are critical to holding county executive to account and ensuring prudent expenditure for development on the ground. Our overall goal in BBI is to ensure equitable growth throughout Kenya. We are looking for ways to narrow the development gap between the regions. I believe this is what we should be focused on as a nation. It is the conversation we should be having, how to ensure every part of this country and all our citizens are involved in helping bake a bigger cake and ensuring each person gets a fair share. As ward representatives, you see the desperation of people in the villages daily. I know I'm talking to the people here who wake up daily in their rural homes only to confront queues of desperate voters looking for help. Similar queues await you in your offices when you report to work. The sad truth is, such queues will not end unless we put serious thinking into how to help our people help themselves. I'm here to see our opponents present better alternatives to what the BBI proposes. They will tell you, oh, right now, the issue number one is the economy. Let us address the issue of economy and forget about BBI. Do it with the elections of 2022. I'm not convinced that the solutions we are proposing to address poverty and inequality in our country should be discarded and replaced with wheelbarrows. I doubt there is an MCA in this room who genuinely believes that if each person in the world received a wheelbarrow today, the people would get rich and they will be able to fend for themselves. There is only so much a wheelbarrow can do. And I know that a wheelbarrow is needed in a construction site, used to carry kokoto to the building site. I don't know what else you use a wheelbarrow for. Today, some people are telling us to stop thinking about the future because the current situation is difficult enough. I'm not convinced that we should postpone these problems. If we stop thinking about the future because of today's problems, be sure we shall never catch up with the future. We must invest in tomorrow today. There is the story of US President Abraham Lincoln, who described himself as a poor man's son. What did he do? Lincoln started a system of universities all over the US so that any poor man's child could go to university and acquire knowledge and skills. When people are down, good leaders don't invest in keeping them down. Good leaders invest in lifting people up. I want to appeal to you to help lift up our people. The decision we make over the next few weeks and the months will with regard to BBI will have a great bearing on whether our children grow up in a land of plenty or land of mere survival. Let us join hands and invest in our children and in their future. We must change the conversation. And that's why we are saying we want to start down where the rubber meets the road. And that is with the county assemblies, with you people. And as already been said by Nyokabi there, the president was very categorical when he was confronted with the MCAs from the Mount Kenya region. And he responded in the only way he could do, because he's also thinking and feeling what you guys are feeling. So if the MPs receive 7 million shillings car grant, why should it be a crime to give the same to MCAs? Why should it be a crime? Because you are the ones who are in daily contact with the electorate, with the daily contact with the people. And I know it because whenever I go to the rural areas, by 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, my home is full with the people. And they come with serious problems. Some of them carry sick people to my home. I ask them, am I a doctor? But you can't chase them away. You see, I say, even if you are a patient, you could just have come and tell me so-and-so is sick, and I give you some assistance. But you don't have to carry a patient to my home. So I fully understand what you guys meet on a daily basis. You guys go through. But what we want is you people to form a team with us so that we can change this country. This country can and must be transformed. But it must be transformed with forward-thinking leadership. A leadership that is prepared to confront the problem directly with the right solutions.